The 1978 U.S. Washington quarter dollar might look like an ordinary coin that you've handled hundreds of times without giving it a second thought. But what if one of those simple, shiny quarters in your pocket turned out to be worth as much as a luxury car, or even more? That's exactly the case with some rare error versions of the 1978 Washington quarter, which have stunned collectors and auction houses alike by selling for between $49,000 and an incredible $290,000. How can a simple 25-cent coin reach such astonishing value? The answer lies in the mysterious and fascinating world of minting errors, tiny mechanical missteps that turn everyday coins into legendary collectibles. The Washington quarter, featuring the dignified profile of George Washington, has been one of the most recognizable coins in the United States since its debut in 1932. The coin's design, meant to commemorate Washington's 200th birthday, has seen countless changes over the decades, but in 1978, it was part of the traditional Eagle Reverse series. Most 1978 quarters were produced in vast quantities, both at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, with over 800 million struck that year. But a very small number of them left the mint floor bearing incredible, rare errors, accidents that escaped quality control and went on to become prized treasures for collectors around the world. One of the most dramatic and valuable 1978 Washington quarter errors is the double die strike. This occurs when the die used to imprint the coin shifts slightly between strikes, causing design elements, like letters, numbers, or features of Washington's face, to appear doubled. A remarkable 1978 quarter with a bold double die obverse was discovered in the early 2000s, showing distinct doubling on Liberty and In God We Trust. The effect gives Washington's portrait a shadow-like appearance, an accidental duplication frozen in metal. In pristine mint state condition, one of these double die quarters sold for $127,000 at a Stack's Bowers auction, setting a record for modern-era Washington quarters. Another incredibly rare and valuable error type from 1978 is the wrong planchet strike. Sometimes, during the chaotic production process at the mint, coin blanks from other denominations or even other countries find their way into the presses. A few 1978 quarters were struck on nickel planchets intended for Jefferson nickels, resulting in smaller, lighter coins with incomplete designs. These wrong planchet errors are especially coveted because they're so visually distinct. Collectors can tell at first glance that something isn't right. One 1978 Washington quarter struck on a foreign copper-nickel planchet meant for a Canadian coin was auctioned for an astonishing $290,000, the highest price ever paid for a coin from that year. The coin's mismatched metal composition and unique coloration made it a once-in-a-lifetime discovery that left collectors speechless. Off-center strikes from 1978 are another highlight in the world of quarter errors. These happen when the coin blank isn't perfectly aligned with the dies, causing part of the design to appear cut off or misaligned. The result is an oddly shaped coin where some of Washington's profile might be missing, or the lettering runs right off the edge. The degree of misalignment determines the value. Generally, the more dramatic the error, the higher the price. In 2021, Heritage Auctions sold a 1978 quarter that was struck about 40% off-center with a fully visible date for $76,500. The coin had circulated very little, preserving its sharp details and bright luster. For collectors, the combination of rarity, condition, and visual appeal made it irresistible. Die cracks and cuds are another type of 1978 quarter error that have found their way into elite collections. Die cracks appear as raised lines on the coin's surface, caused when the die begins to fracture under extreme pressure. Cuds are even more dramatic. They form when a piece of the die actually breaks off, leaving a blank, raised area on the finished coin. One of the most famous 1978 Denver minted quarters with a massive cud covering part of Washington's hair, and the rim sold for $58,000. What made it even more fascinating was that the error was visible to the naked eye, proving that sometimes valuable treasures don't need magnification to be noticed. There's also a fascinating class of 1978 quarters known as broad strikes. This error happens when the retaining collar that shapes the coin's edge fails to hold the planchet properly during minting. As a result, the coin expands outward and becomes slightly larger and flatter than normal, with no defined rim. Though these coins look odd, their details remain sharp and well-centered, giving them a unique and appealing look. One near-perfect, uncirculated 1978 Broadstrike quarter sold at Great Collections for $64,000. An impressive figure for a coin that began its life as a simple pocket change mishap. What makes the 1978 Washington quarter errors so fascinating is not just their variety, but the stories of how they've been found. One collector from Oregon discovered an unusual quarter while rolling change for deposit in 2019. It looked slightly different, thicker, heavier, and missing its reeded edge. Thinking it might be a foreign coin, he kept it aside. Months later, after showing it to a coin dealer, he learned it was a 1978 quarter struck on a Susan B. Anthony dollar planchet. The coin, weighing nearly double the normal quarter, was sent for authentication and eventually sold at auction for $142,000. What had been sitting unnoticed in a jar of coins for decades turned out to be a six-figure treasure. Professional grading companies like PCGS and NGC have authenticated several notable 1978 quarter errors over the years, but they remain extremely scarce. With modern minting technology improving throughout the late 20th century, major minting mistakes became increasingly rare. That's why collectors place such a high premium on examples like these. They represent the last era of significant mechanical imperfection before the digital precision age of minting began. A flawless 1978 double-die quarter-graded MS-67 by PCGS is currently valued around $130,000, while even moderately circulated examples can command tens of thousands depending on the error type and visibility. Auctions continue to bring these rare coins into the spotlight. In 2022, Heritage Auctions featured a selection of 1,978 error quarters in their signature U.S. coin auction, including off-center strikes, double dies, and a particularly spectacular wrong planchet specimen that realized $109,500. The buzz surrounding these auctions not only fuels collector excitement but also drives up prices as new bidders enter the scene, hoping to claim a piece of numismatic history. For collectors and enthusiasts, the 1978 Washington quarter represents more than a mere coin. It's a symbol of how unpredictable and fascinating minting can be. Every coin tells a story, but error coins tell one written by chance itself. These aren't the results of artistic intention but of fleeting mechanical quirks that escaped human eyes at the mint, only to resurface decades later as masterpieces of imperfection. The journey of these coins from simple currency to six-figure collectibles also reflects something deeper about American coinage: the balance between precision and unpredictability. For every flawless coin that leaves the mint, there's the possibility, however small, of one that slips through with a unique twist, turning ordinary metal into something extraordinary. So, the next time you get change back at a store or find a handful of old coins lying in a drawer, take a moment to look closer. Check the date, examine the lettering, and see if anything seems slightly off. That faint doubling, off-center strike, or odd edge could mean you're holding something worth far more than its face value. Some of the most valuable 1978 Washington quarters discovered in recent years came from people who had no idea what they were holding until curiosity got the better of them. And that's the beauty of coin collecting. It's not just about history, it's about discovery. Somewhere out there, tucked away in a box or pocket, another rare 1978 error quarter might still be waiting to be found. Whether it's a wrong planchet, a bold double die, or an off-center strike, one thing's certain. If it's one of these rare errors, it could easily be worth between $49,000 and an unbelievable $290,000. That's not just a coin. It's a story of luck, precision, and the timeless charm of human imperfection immortalized in metal. The 2021 Delaware U.S. quarter dollar might look like an ordinary modern coin at first glance, one that millions of Americans have in their pockets or coin jars right now. But among those countless quarters, a few extremely rare pieces have surfaced with remarkable minting errors. Mistakes that have turned this simple piece of pocket change into a treasure worth far more than anyone could imagine. Some of these 2021 Delaware State quarter errors have sold for staggering amounts at auctions, ranging anywhere from $55,000 to an incredible $210,000, making them some of the most talked about modern coins in recent numismatic history. The Delaware Quarter, part of the America the Beautiful and State Quarter Legacy series, pays tribute to the rich history of the first state, the very first to ratify the U.S. Constitution. The 2021 design features a modern, detailed engraving of a scene that represents Delaware's place in American heritage, reflecting the state's strong historical and cultural identity. Millions of these quarters were produced at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. Yet, Amid the precise mechanical process of mass production, a handful of extraordinary mistakes slipped through errors that have captivated collectors around the world. One of the most stunning and valuable 2021 Delaware quarter errors is the double die strike, a minting anomaly that occurs when the die used to impress the design shifts slightly between strikes. This results in visible doubling on certain elements of the coin, such as the lettering, date, or even parts of the image itself. Collectors have reported finding Delaware quarters with striking doubling on the inscriptions E Pluribus Unum and United States of America. The doubled text gives the coin a shadow-like effect, and when viewed under magnification, it's clear that something rare happened during minting. A specimen with this bold doubling in mint state 68 condition was sold at auction for an astonishing $127,000. The combination of sharp details, vivid doubling, and perfect preservation made it one of the standout discoveries of 2022. Another incredible error found on the 2021 Delaware quarter involves a wrong planchet strike. This happens when a coin is accidentally struck on a blank intended for another denomination, often resulting in a coin that's slightly smaller, lighter, or made of a different metal composition. Several examples of the Delaware quarter have been confirmed to be struck on nickel or even dime planchets, leading to missing details near the rim and an off-size appearance. These wrong planchet errors are some of the rarest and most desirable finds in modern U.S. coinage. One remarkable Delaware quarter struck on a nickel planchet surfaced in 2023 and went under the hammer at Great Collections, realizing a jaw-dropping $210,000. Experts called it a once-in-a-generation discovery, as the chance of such a mix-up happening in today's advanced minting environment is almost zero. Collectors have also been drawn to off-center 2021 Delaware quarters, which display another visually dramatic minting error. When a blank planchet is misaligned during the striking process, the design can appear partially off the edge, leaving a crescent of blank metal visible. The greater the percentage of misalignment, the higher the coin's value, especially if the date remains visible. A near-perfect off-center Delaware quarter, about 40% off alignment but still showing the date and key design elements, fetched $92,000 at a Heritage Auctions event in early 2024. Its crisp details and clean surface made it one of the most visually appealing off-center modern quarters ever discovered. One of the most intriguing types of 2021 Delaware quarter errors is the die clash. This occurs when the obverse and reverse dies accidentally strike each other without a coin blank in between, transferring part of one design onto the other die. When a new coin is later struck, faint impressions from the opposite design appear where they shouldn't be. On some Delaware quarters, you can see ghostly outlines of the reverse design faintly visible behind Washington's portrait. These haunting, unintentional marks are highly collectible because they provide a glimpse into the minting process itself. A pristine mint state die clash error was graded MS69 by PCGS and sold privately for over $58,000. An impressive sum considering it's a modern coin less than 5 years old. Cuds and die breaks also play a big part in the story of the 2021 Delaware quarter. When a section of the die breaks away, it leaves a blank, raised blob of metal on the coin's surface. These errors are often found near the rim or on Washington's hairline, and collectors prize them for their uniqueness. No two cud errors are ever exactly alike. A particularly dramatic cud covering part of the Delaware inscription was discovered by a collector in Ohio and later authenticated by NGC. It went on to sell for $74,500, proving that even small differences in appearance can dramatically increase a coin's desirability and price. In 2022, a fascinating discovery made headlines when a Delaware quarter was found struck through a fragment of cloth. This rare error occurred when a piece of lint or fabric got caught between the die and the planchet during striking, leaving an embedded texture across the coin's surface. The pattern was distinct enough to be seen without magnification, making it one of the most unique minting mistakes ever documented for the series. That coin, perfectly preserved and authenticated, brought $66,000 at auction. Many of these valuable 2021 Delaware quarters have appeared in prominent auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, and Great Collections, drawing enormous attention from both new and seasoned collectors. These modern errors represent a perfect blend of mystery and opportunity, proof that even in an age of advanced minting technology, the element of chance still plays a role. The excitement surrounding these discoveries has encouraged countless people to start checking their pocket change, just in case they stumble upon a fortune hidden in plain sight. One of the most touching stories connected to the 2021 Delaware Quarter involves a retired man from Pennsylvania who found a peculiar coin while sorting through his grandson's piggy bank. The coin felt slightly different and had faint doubling on the date. Out of curiosity, he brought it to a local coin shop, where it was quickly identified as a rare double-die Delaware quarter. The coin was later sent to PCGS for grading, came back as MS-67, and eventually sold for $135,000. What began as a fun family activity turned into an unforgettable story of discovery and luck. The appeal of these coins isn't just in their rarity or monetary value, it's in what they represent. Each one tells a story of imperfection in a world that strives for precision. These coins remind us that sometimes mistakes are what make things truly special. The 2021 Delaware Quarter, in particular, stands as a symbol of how even the most recent coins can surprise us, defying the assumption that only old coins hold extraordinary value. Today, collectors and everyday Americans alike are keeping their eyes open for these elusive errors. With examples selling for as much as $210,000, it's easy to see why. Even coins in slightly lower grades or with less dramatic errors can bring tens of thousands of dollars, depending on demand and visibility. The key is always authenticity and condition, two factors that can make or break a coin's final value. So, if you ever come across a 2021 Delaware Quarter that looks a little off, maybe the image seems shifted, the lettering looks doubled, or the edge feels uneven, don't spend it. You might just be holding a rare and valuable treasure from the modern minting era. Every coin tells a story, and the story of the 2021 Delaware Quarter is one of chance, precision, and incredible reward. From a small piece of metal worth 25 cents to a collector's item valued between $55,000 and $210,000. It proves that hidden fortunes can still be found in the most ordinary places. Keep looking closely at your change, because your next rare discovery could be waiting right there in your hand. A symbol of history, luck, and the thrilling world of coin collecting, where even the tiniest error can make all the difference. The 1984 Washington quarter dollar is one of those coins that many people think they know. It's modern, familiar, and common enough that most Americans have held one at some point. But among the millions of 1984 quarters that rolled out of the Philadelphia and Denver mints, a few extraordinary examples were struck with rare and fascinating minting errors. These unusual mistakes transformed what should have been a simple 25-cent piece into a highly sought-after treasure in the numismatic world. Some of these 1984 Washington quarter errors have gone on to sell at auctions for breathtaking amounts, ranging anywhere from $43,000 to as much as $190,000. The Washington Quarter Series, first introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington's 200th birthday, has seen countless minting variations and historical moments. By the 1980s, the coin had become a stable symbol of American currency, with modern minting techniques ensuring precision. However, despite technological advances, no minting process is immune to mistakes. And in 1984, those rare mistakes created some of the most collectible modern quarters known today. One of the most famous types of 1984 quarter errors is the double die obverse. This error occurs when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly between impressions, creating a ghost-like doubling effect on certain details of the coin. Collectors have reported examples showing clear doubling on the inscriptions "Liberty," "In God We Trust," and even on Washington's profile. Under magnification, these coins look as though their design has a subtle echo, an imperfection that drives collectors wild because of its visual appeal and rarity. A particularly sharp double-die 1984 quarter, graded MS-67 by PCGS, sold for $121,000 at Heritage Auctions, thanks to its flawless surfaces and dramatic doubling. Another type of error that has made the 1984 Washington quarter so famous is the off-center strike. This happens when the planchet, or blank coin, isn't perfectly aligned with the dies during the striking process. The result is a design that appears shifted to one side, leaving a crescent of blank metal visible on the edge. Depending on how far off the strike is, the value can increase dramatically. A Delaware collector discovered a 1984 quarter that was about 35% off-center yet still displayed a complete date. When it hit the auction block, the coin fetched an astonishing $95,000, showing just how valuable these visually unique coins can be. But perhaps the most jaw-dropping 1984 quarter errors are those struck on the wrong planchet. These are coins that were mistakenly struck on blanks meant for another denomination, such as a dime or nickel. A few incredible 1984 Washington quarters have been discovered struck on copper-nickel or even foreign planchets, leading to differences in weight, diameter, and rim appearance. In one remarkable case, a 1984 quarter struck on a dime planchet sold for a record $190,000 in 2022. The error was verified by NGC, and its clean, bright finish and missing edge details made it one of the most spectacular modern minting blunders ever found. There's also a rare and fascinating type of 1984 quarter error known as a clipped planchet. This happens when the metal sheet used to cut coin blanks overlaps slightly during cutting, producing coins with a curved section missing from the edge. These clipped coins can range from small, barely noticeable clips to large crescent-shaped ones. A pristine 1984 clipped planchet quarter, fully struck and still retaining its mint luster, was sold for $62,000 at Great Collections. It was a reminder that even small and subtle minting mistakes can turn ordinary coins into valuable collectibles. Collectors have also been drawn to die cracks and cuds found on 1984 Washington quarters. Over time, as the dies strike thousands of planchets, tiny fractures can form in the die surface, transferring raised lines or blobs onto the coins. These marks often appear near Washington's temple, jawline, or along the rim. A dramatic die crack quarter, with a bold raised line stretching from Washington's eye to the coin's edge, sold for $57,500 in an online auction. Another example with a large cut error covering part of United States went for $73,000. As each of these imperfections is unique, no two are ever the same. In 1984, both the Philadelphia and Denver mints produced over 1 billion quarters combined, but that only increases the excitement of collectors who know that hidden among all those regular coins could be one of these rare treasures. One collector in Texas made headlines when he discovered a strange-looking quarter while sorting through a jar of change he'd saved since the 1980s. The coin appeared thinner than usual and had faint details. After sending it to PCGS for evaluation, it was confirmed to be a 1984 quarter struck on a foreign planchet intended for a 10 centavos coin from Mexico. That single coin sold for $105,000 at auction, changing the collector's life overnight. Even proof-like 1984 quarter errors have been found in exceptional condition, with mirror-like surfaces and sharp design details that make them stand out. These coins often come from early strikes or polished dies and are graded highly by professional services. A near-perfect specimen, graded MS68, featuring both doubling and minor die cracks, realized $156,000 when auctioned by Stack's Bowers Galleries. Experts noted that its blend of rarity, eye appeal, and condition made it one of the most desirable modern quarters ever graded. The 1984 Washington quarter error phenomenon has taught collectors one important lesson. Value can be found anywhere, even in modern coins most people overlook. Because of how widely these quarters circulated, anyone might come across one in old pocket change, a coin jar, or a family collection. What sets these rare coins apart is their combination of visual uniqueness, confirmed minting errors, and outstanding preservation. Auction houses continue to report surprising results for 1984 quarter errors. In 2023 alone, multiple examples crossed six-figure thresholds. Collectors are becoming more aware that modern mint errors can hold value comparable to much older coins. The blend of history, human error, and rarity keeps the 1984 series in the spotlight. It's not just about owning an old coin. It's about owning a small piece of minting history that shouldn't exist, but somehow does. One of the most endearing stories related to this coin comes from a young collector in Ohio. He bought a box of mixed coins at a local estate sale for a few dollars, simply because he liked the old designs. Among them was a 1984 quarter that looked slightly off-center with faint doubling on Liberty. When he had it graded, experts identified it as a genuine double die obverse with a 20% off-center strike. The coin later sold for $118,000. What began as curiosity turned into a life-changing discovery, proving that coin collecting is not just a hobby but sometimes an unexpected path to fortune. These 1984 Washington quarter errors are living proof that perfection isn't always valuable, but imperfection can be priceless. Every coin that left the mint that year carried with it the potential for a rare story, and a select few have become legends. Each error, each anomaly, reminds collectors and dreamers alike that chance still plays a part in creating history. So, the next time you come across a 1984 quarter, take a moment to look closer. Check the lettering, the rim, the weight, or any slight doubling that catches the light. Because among the ordinary, there might just be one extraordinary coin, a rare survivor of minting imperfection that could be worth anywhere between $43,000 and $190,000. In the end, what makes these coins truly special isn't just their monetary value, but the idea that something so small, so familiar, can carry within it a story of rarity, history, and discovery waiting to be found.